One of Donald Trump's most high-ranking officials just melted down under congressional spotlight, and it is disturbing to watch. I'm David Reddish. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. FBI Director Kash Patel is having a rough week, amid allegations from a former FBI director that he uses government jets for personal trips and actually spends most of his time at nightclubs as opposed to, doing his job. Yesterday, in front of a congressional subcommittee, this embarrassing exchange happened.
During your Senate confirmation hearings, you repeatedly denied having any involvement as a private citizen in the firing of FBI officials who engaged in the prosecution against January 6 insurrectionists, the violent rioters who beat and killed Capitol police officers, and whom you referred to as political prisoners. Since then, multiple whistleblowers have come forward, and we know that you likely committed perjury. At the same hearing, you claimed you were not familiar with Stu Peters, an anti-Semitic Holocaust denier, despite the fact that you appeared on Mr. Peters' podcast 8 separate times. 8 times. And you claimed not to recall. Mr. Patel, my second question is, should we worry more about your memory or your veracity?
We should worry more about your lack of candor. You're accusing me of committing perjury. Tell the American people how I broke the law and committed a felony. Have the audacity to actually put the facts forward instead of lying for political banter so you can have a 20-second donation hit.
The answer is both.
Oh, it gets worse. Much worse. Now, some right-wing nuts have commended him for that little exchange, but I don't know. He looks more like a petulant, bratty child to me. Then again, in Donald Trump's America, that's sort of what we've come to expect, right? Cut to today on Capitol Hill. Called to testify before Congress, and before his full-blown meltdown, Patel had this exchange with Senator Jeff Markley over due process and the recent Supreme Court decision that ruled even illegal aliens have right to due process under the Constitution.
But it's the plain language of the Constitution. It concerns me that you're not familiar with the core concept of due process applying to all persons as written in black and white in the Constitution.
As the first public defender who's ever served at the FBI as its director, I am more aware of due process than any predecessor in my seat. You are delineating between removal proceedings and criminal acts. My job is to investigate criminal acts. That's what we do.
You are aware that the Fifth Amendment refers to taking away liberty, and when people are arrested on the street, detained and sent out of the country, that their liberty has been taken away.
Senator, that is a constitutional question that you are asking me to answer. It's not for me to answer.
The question has already been answered by the Supreme Court that they're protected. Therefore, it's a violation of law, and it's your responsibility to open an investigation, and you're saying today you will not do so?
I am not the agency involved in removal proceedings. That is a different branch of government.
And yet, it still gets worse. In the same hearings, Senator Patty Murray questioned Patel about the fact that the FBI has yet to actually submit a budget request to the Congress. Remember, Congress funds every agency and office in the federal government and appropriates funds. When asked about finally submitting a budget, here's what Patel had to say.
I have a timeline on that.
It was due last week by law.
I understand.
And your answer is you just understand. You're not going to follow the law?
My answer is that I am following the law, and I'm working with my interagency partners to do this and get you the budget that you are required to have.
And you have no timeline?
No.
Well, we also need a full budget request, not a single paragraph full of wild talking points that we saw with the skinny budget proposal. We're now having a budget hearing without a budget request. So, Director Patel, where is the FY 2026 budget request for the FBI?
It's being worked on, ma'am.
Have you reviewed it? Have you approved it?
Not yet.
When will we get it?
As soon as I can get it from my interagency partners and get it approved.
6 months from now?
I don't know, ma'am. I'm not going to make
Well,
up a
how do
timeline.
we as Congress do our budget and our work without that request and without the spend plan?
Well, ma'am, I'm here. I'm
don't
doing the
care.
best I can. I can't make up answers. I'm going to commit to you to work on getting you the information you need.
That is insufficient and deeply disturbing. No response?
I've given my response.
There's that petulant brat child look again. Not to mention, why does it seem like Kash Patel has no interest in actually doing his job? How is the FBI supposed to function if its director doesn't even care what resources it has at its disposal? Patel hates the FBI, of course, and has made a career out of his loony deep state conspiracy theories. He also vowed to turn the Hoover Building into a deep state museum if he landed the FBI director job, which he has not. The amazing thing is that he wanted the FBI director job so badly and now seems to have no interest in actually doing it. Given his contentious confirmation hearings, this brings even more shame and embarrassment to the Republican senators that got him confirmed. I'm sure they are probably used to that feeling by now, and if not, they really should be. Look, the bigger question is this, and it's the truly chilling question this whole story raises. What is Patel doing to prevent crime and terrorism in this country? Remember, the FBI had actually discovered the 9/11 attacks in advance and warned the Bush administration in July before they actually happened. The CIA even had more evidence to support that fact. Hell, Vladimir frickin' Putin, of all people, along with Russian intelligence, even warned George W. Bush about the attacks 2 days before they happened. And the warnings went unheeded by Bush and then National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice, both of whom were more concerned with looking cool and taking advantage of their newfound government fame. Does that sound familiar? It should. Kash Patel is now doing the same thing. Listen, I know the internet is fertile ground for hyperbole, but this is truly disturbing. We saw what happened when an incurious and untutored president suddenly allowed an unprecedented terrorist attack on U.S. soil. It led to irreparable damage to America's reputation, the erosion of basic rights, 2 pointless and costly wars, and the total destabilization of the world order. Not to mention death and the collective trauma Americans still wrestle with to this day. And now Kash Patel and Donald Trump are asleep at the wheel again. Let's hope someone gets them some coffee and a wake-up call before we all get one bloody rude awakening. This is Occupy Democrats.